So Hosana has found a little bit of a better shady spot, and he's hornbills anymore, but we can see the hoof of the impala sort of dangling there in the air, what's left of the impala. Sorry, I was looking at my monitor, and all I see were those tendrils of leaves, and I was like, Ferg, what are you looking at? And then I moved around so that my gear shift wasn't in the way, and then there was the impala. So here's little Hosana lying beautifully in a better piece of shade. The sun's starting to slowly go down, so he keeps having to move a little bit, move a little bit, move a little bit into. But in general, he's a pretty. Proud Cat Mama, you would like to know if anyone saw Hosana make this kill. Proud Cat Mama, I'm actually not sure. I only got the update sort of late into drive this morning. We have different channels that we work of, and I was working the northern end of our traverse, which doesn't pick up the channel that we're on now. So when I got down to the southern end of our traverse, I picked it up. So the guys didn't say whether or not they saw him kill it. They just said that he was there. But it would be an interesting thing to know. I have a feeling that they might have just found him as opposed to seen it, but you never know. We're very close to Chitwa, and so I think one of the first things the guys would have done would have been to have a look-see for him. If when I see another one of the guides from here, I can always ask, and then I will let you know for sure. Oh, that breeze coming through nice. Ooh. We've got a little bit of cloud cover that's coming through and a little bit of breeze that's coming with it, and so it's taking a bit of this heat. It's actually slightly humid. The rain that we were hoping to get yesterday and this morning, we just got a drizzle. It didn't actually drop on us. So as Scott and I have been chatting about it on and off, we really do need a big downpour of rain. I know we keep commenting on it. Oh, that's beautiful, Ferg. Thank you. But yeah, it would be nice. Postsider, you're wondering how big his head is, so you wanted me to approximate the circumference. I don't know, Ferg, what do you think, like a small rugby ball?
Mini football.
A mini, yeah, okay, so a mini football, American football or European football?
Real football.
Yeah, real. Ferg says a mini football / soccer ball. That's the kind of football we're talking about. You said real football. His head, and then obviously the snout sort of attached to it a little bit. His belly, though, is probably the size of 2 footballs / soccer balls. That's how fat that is. And then his paw size in front, it's roughly the size of your palm as an adult person. Kevin, you're saying has found a spot that is extra super comfortable, and he's busy panting, and yeah, his ears are sort of midway. They're not forward as an alert and they're not back as an annoyed. They're just, he's in a very relaxed state, so I think a smile is not for sure. Have sort of a Rottweiler sized dog or like a small boerboel, because that's about his size. Almost a full-grown boerboel, depending on if your boerboel's mixed with anything. I'm trying to think of another dog species that would be similar size. Most of my friends either have really small dogs or really, really large dogs. So maybe a big lab, we can put that in there. That's about the size that he would be. Alsatian, yeah, but maybe like a Belgian Shepherd as opposed to a German Shepherd. What do you think, Ferg? They're those smaller, the ones that we use for anti-poaching. Those smaller with the shorter hair. Maybe a mixture in there. Two and a half foot, roughly. Ferg, if you wouldn't, yeah, you're focusing right in where I want you to be, not just with the tail, but you guys see that yellow that we were talking about? Not that, you know, we really want to be looking at genitalia of all of our... You can notice as fur goes down the coat there how it alternates between being sort of a tawny color into a white color with the rosettes on top. Interestingly enough, we were chatting several weeks ago, I think almost a month ago, about how if you shave a tiger, the stripes go into the skin, and how if you shave a zebra, it's black underneath. And someone sent in a photo. One of our leopards got bit by a rabid dog, and I'm pretty sure it's Hosana. Viewers, will you? Oh, is it Shindile? Okay, sorry about that. It wasn't Hosana, it was Shindile. Thanks, Nix. And one of our viewers sent in a photo of him after he had been darted and had been shaved for treatment. And his skin pattern, the rosettes go into the skin, just as a thought, in case you were interested to know. He's really enjoying his little perch here. Now, amazingly, when he gets full grown, he is probably going to weigh, I would say, between 85 and 95 kilograms. He's probably going to be a larger male. But right now, he probably only weighs about 55 kilograms. Jarvie, I'm so sorry. You said, Nix, I missed that question a little bit there. I heard the last end of it. Maybe if we could repeat the question, Jarvie. I am getting your question through. Sorry, we've got a little bit of a delay between myself. Sorry, it wasn't Nix, it was Faith. We've got a delay between myself and Faith. She's up in the Mara, so she'll hear that I've requested again. Jarvie, you asked, will Hosana's rosettes change at any point in his life? That's a really interesting question. No, they're pretty much set. The only thing that you would really see change is if he maybe got into a scrap and then sort of got a scar, or possibly got some mange, and then there'd be a little change to his coat pattern there. But pretty much from birth, that's it. That's the pattern, and that's how set they are. We've got another vehicle that's coming to join us to enjoy in the cuteness that is Hosana, so just excuse the noise in the back there.
Okay guys, yeah, so this is a young male,
Yes, he's very, 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 very hot. All right, I don't think he's probably going to move for the next, I would say, half an hour. So I'm going to ask you all what you think. It's not a very busy sighting at the moment. We can stay here for a while longer if you would like, but we're also not far from Chitwa Dam. So everybody, what shall we do? Shall we stay with Hosana for a while longer and then go to the dam, or shall we meander over to the dam now and then see maybe if we can come back to him later, depending on how busy the sighting gets? I'm going to let you all decide what works best for all of you. I am very happy to sit with him for a while, and I'm also very happy to carry on to the dam. While all of you are busy deciding what you would best like to do with this portion of our game drive, let's head back up to the...
Well, we're looking at trees at the moment. As you can see, two perfectly positioned trees, and I stopped here because I glanced at them and I thought that the one on the right in particular looked like it was dancing. Now, if you can imagine a person with its head being, of course, the leaves, and then if you go a little way down, not quite the most proportional body, but they're the arms, and then one foot on the ground and the other one kicked high to the sky. That's what I see. When I look at that, I don't know what all of you see, but I thought it was quite cool, so I thought I'd show you. Now, Martin, you're wondering what is the name of the bonfire tree, or like trees, found in the Mara? I think you're talking about these ones, if I'm not mistaken. These are called Balanites aegypticus, the wild date tree, if I'm not mistaken. That's one of the many common names, but there's so many, and that's all of them down there too. It's the most prominent tree out in the grasslands in the Mara, If you go to the Masai Mara National Reserve, the vegetation there is very varied. You get a variety of balanites, there's some acacias, there's lots of guarri trees, and then of course when you go along the forest, then you get all the diospyros and the heartwoods and blah 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 and the that I haven't, and the patternwoods and all the other trees that I haven't identified yet because there's so many of them. But I do know this one, and the leopards like to utilize them. It's, for instance, the shepherd tree male who we've been talking about since the beginning of Drive. He likes to use this, and then there's also shepherd's trees, which is why he's called the shepherd tree male, out in the Mara Troop, but not in this area right now. Or Martin, maybe it's not these ones you're talking about. Perhaps you are talking maybe about a gardenia tree. It could also perhaps be in the shepherd tree, like we were saying, the bosquias. But otherwise, very quiet down here. Now, the storm is approaching. It's actually taking a lot longer than I thought. I think it's going to be a proper storm. And there's also a storm you can't see. So there's a storm coming from the north. Then there's the storm coming from the far east, where the sun rises. And then the one that you can't see is coming from Serena, so from the south. These three storms are going to meet, and it is going to be crazy how much rain we're going to get there. I've been seeing a lot of lightning in the distance. So I'm not a fan of lightning. So what I thought we could try and do is maybe head into one of the forests through the boom gate. And then Manu and I wanted to see if we could see an arena trogon, which would be quite cool. Or maybe the African emerald cuckoo or African blue flycatcher, or that slaty-eyed something flycatcher that I saw the other day too. So we'll try and find some of those birds for you. But Ralph, of course, who you've been driving around with for some time, is in the Mara, and he's also staring at a beautiful scene.
Yes, thanks Taylor, and a beautiful scene it is indeed. We're in a little bit, like I said, in the eye of the storm. We've almost got the last little patch of light with the rain off in the distance, but we've got a wonderful sighting of some elephants moving through the plains, and we've managed to find those lions again a little bit closer, and also it seems the rest of the pride. Now, I have an inkling that this is the Marsh Breakaway pride, but I can't confirm just yet. Most of them have been lying very flat, so I am assuming at the moment. But we will wait here a little while and see, because they have been moving around. It's nice and cool, so it's quite easy for them to be mobile at the moment. But they're on a nice little raised area as well, so it's quite nice for that. Lovely to see a group of females just on a termite mound, and then on an opposing termite mound there is a bunch of other ones, and it looked like there were a couple of youngsters there. Lovely spotty bellies. Now, Jim, you're wondering if the lions will hide from the rain. Well, Jim, I'm afraid there's not really anywhere for them to hide. So what they will do is pretty much what they're doing now. Just lie there looking sorry for themselves. Sometimes they can go under a little bit of overhanging tree or rock, but generally they'll just lie there in the rain, in the mud, and just wait it out. So they do look quite sorry for themselves in the rain, but also remembering that when it rains, it's actually for the lions that take up the chance, it's a good time for them to go hunting, because the animals can't hear them coming, and it's quite difficult for them to smell them as well. So it's actually a fantastic time for predators if they are keen to get out and go hunting. Alright, so as I said, I think we're going to stay here and see if these lions get up to anything. Maybe they'll start hunting, stalking. Maybe there's a warthog that walks past. But from one predator to another, let's send you on down south to Scott and see if he's been able to find Tundi.
Well, Clifford, there we go. There's a little reptile. It's a tiny little lizard. It's probably only about 1.5 inches long. And this is what I think is called a Sandoval's skink. I'm hoping it jumps out of this small little crevice that it's lurking in, so we'll get some better views. Oh, there we go. It understands English. Who would have thought? Clever little reptile. Now, these specific little lizards are entirely arboreal. I've only ever seen them in trees. And seems like it's disappeared for now. To give you an idea of how small it is, as Senzo zooms out, you'll get a good idea. This is a beautiful big torchwood tree with heavily fluted trunk with lots of nice crevices for that little skink to disappear into. Beautiful home, don't you think? So, we've got you one little reptile so far. I'd love you guys to double check on the name. I'd love to hear any updates on whether or not you guys have helped out with some frog versus toad intelligence. Now, we've picked up a little stowaway here. Oh, they're so cool to watch moving, a little inchworm. Twink! Twink! So, thanks very much to everyone that is confirming that it is in fact a skink. That's a good start, but I'd like to know what kind of skink it is. You get many different types of skinks. Imagine if this is how you moved around. Well done, Sens. High action sighting. An inchworm on the move. How cool. News. Now that it's on my finger, you've got a good idea of just how small it is. And I'm just going to take it off and plonk it on some vegetation here, where I'm sure it'll be more happy than on our vehicle. Just so that you guys know, I did take a look around for any sign of any more foam nest frogs or grey tree frogs, but I didn't have any joy around that mud wallow. There we go. That's better, a more natural environment for it to do its business in. And we're not finished with our quest for small reptiles. We know a hole that a plated lizard lives in, so we're going to head to that hole next in the hope that we'll find that for you. And after that, we're going to head back to a cavity in a marula tree close to Treehouse Dam, where Senzo spotted a rock monitor lizard lurking in a cavity in the tree. That Senzo spotted about 4 or 5 days ago. And you tend to find with the monitor lizards that they do like to hang out in the same cavities in trees. Some of you will remember a monitor lizard that lived in a tree just up ahead of us. And it wasn't just him that used to live in this hole, but we also had a pair of woodlands kingfishers that nested in this very same hole. The same bird that you can hear calling now. Chick brrr. And I've been checking out this hole since I've been back. There's been no sign of any life in it. Some of you might even remember an epic scene while we were sitting, waiting and watching for the woodlands kingfishers to bring food back for the youngsters. And it brought back a snake. So, Sens, if you see these two holes a little bit kind of lower down on the tree, those one of those two holes that the woodlands kingfisher and the monitor lizard used to live in, cavity has been actually filled up with sand, and that will be thanks to the termites that are slowly I'm sure it's going to collapse sometime soon because the cavities used to be open, and it was the lower cavity that actually used to house the kingfishers, and you can see it's filled with sand. Possible home for birds and monitor lizards, which is a pity. Keep searching in other dead trees for the likely homes of not only birds but also reptiles. Squirrels like to use them. You actually tend to find, I was actually wrong there, there's not a lot of cavities in trees for the animals that live in cavities, so you tend to see them fighting quite a lot over those sites. Wonderful. Well, we're going to head off to our next reptile, hopefully, and while we do that, we're going to send you off to Noel, who's also on the move.
Hello, everyone. So as you can see, I am on the move. So unfortunately, I had to make the choice for us, and I'm actually going to tell you why. So Hosana was fast asleep, and I was sitting and I was chatting with one of the guides in the sighting, and he had his radio on, and Tingana is not far from us, and Tingana is moving slowly. So I've decided what I think everyone might like, and I hope you all agree, is that we're going to go to the dam while we wait for our turn in the Tingana sighting. We're going to go and get a view of Tingana on the move and sort of sniffing around. He might even come up towards Hosana, so this is another reason for the decision. And then if for whatever reason, so sorry little hornbills, if for whatever reason nothing works out with the Tingana situation, we can always go back to Hosana. So I hope that everybody will be happy with that. I think it'll be nice to see Tingana after not seeing him for a few days. And then also it's a good time of day for elephants to start coming down towards the dam, and we can also check on the hippos. So let's have a look at the dam. And then also the guides will update me if for any reason Hosana decides to completely move in some silly little direction. They'll let us know. But we had him so nicely this morning, and then we got him really nicely now. I think let's try and see what else we can find, and then we'll use him as our safety net, as it were, for our leopard watch for this afternoon. Now, as I say this, it looks as if our hippos have decided that it's a very hot water, but we will move forward and see. I'm noticing now a lot of hornbills flying around with insects in their beaks, so I'm assuming absolutely fantastic. So this is the tree during our show that James was climbing up, and it seems as if just above me there's a little cavity that they're also feeding their chicks in. I can just see it here on the right hand side. Just want to show it to you quickly, and then after we're done showing this to you, we're going to send you up to Taylor, who I'm sure has something magic as well. There we go. Just inside of there, on the right-hand side towards the top of the screen, that's going to be the cavity where that hornbill was. Oh, fantastic. All right, so let's head on up to the Masai Mara and hear back from Taylor, and then hopefully when we get back, we'll either be with Tingana or possibly with some elephants.
Look at this very precious scene. It's a pity though the light faded so quickly. Unfortunately, the clouds have really rolled in and the wind is blowing an absolute hurricane at the moment. And it seems to be stirring the zebra a little bit, which could be quite entertaining for us. There have been a couple of kicks and bucks already, and hopefully a few more. Not too serious though, just gentle ones. But it's a group of zebra that we see almost every single day. They live up here on the escarpment. Sometimes sorry about that. I believe that there were a couple of gremlins that attacked us there. But it keeps going. Sorry again. And I am sitting still as well. Sorry, Faith. I don't know what's back. I think the gremlins are attacking me too badly in this spot, I'm afraid, so I'm so sorry about that. We'll catch these zebra on another day. I'm going to send you down across to Ralph, who is not too far away from where I am.
Yes, thanks, Taylor. And we're still watching this beautiful specimen of an elephant grazing through the plains here. And we're getting more and more worried that we're going to be getting wet soon. But nonetheless, we're still looking out on a beautiful setting and the storm all around us. It's lovely to watch it all unfold as the rain starts to pelt down in different areas around us. But the animals continuing on their daily chores of survival, feeding and resting up, whatever it might be. They don't have the luxury of being able to go home and close the doors, so they just continue with their normal daily cycle. Whether it rains or not, they just continue. And so there's no space for being soft out in the bush. The elephants, I think they're probably one of the animals that like the rain the most. It doesn't really affect them at all. They're thick-skinned, and so they just continue walking through the mud, feeding as they go. I'm sure they're almost smiling when it's raining. Everybody else is really struggling, and they're quite happy. A couple of elephants there, and we're still looking out over the pride of lions as well, but they seem to have all gone flat now, as lions do, and as Murphy's Law suggests, always So it's lovely still to see these lions, at least with their heads up, and they're on a raised position here. So at least we get to see them at all. If they were in that long grass, we wouldn't see them. So not so bad. But anyway, from those lions on Termite Mound, let's send you on over to Scott, who's got another scaly reptile.
Well, we've got another reptile. This is far larger than the one we had before, the Sandoval skink. This is called a plated lizard. And I would guess that it's probably about 10 inches long, maybe 12, 6 inches of body and 6 inches of tail, roughly. And quite a chunky lizard. And this guy actually lives in this hole, so almost every time we drive past here we see him or her, I'm not sure if it's a male or a female, just lurking in this cavity in a giant termite mound. And it seems like it's living the life of leisure. Now, I'm guessing that they kind of just ambush their prey as it comes past the entrance to its burrow. I don't ever really see them moving too far from the safety of their retreat. So that's the next reptile as per Clifford's request. So 2 down. How many more will we be able to find you this afternoon? Only time will tell. I'm told you guys are having a great time up in the moody Mara with all the wind and storminess approaching. I hope the guys manage to dodge the rain, because it can make life a little bit tricky. But it's certainly better than a few months ago when we had the circus tent set up, when we first arrived in the Mara, before we could redesign and develop the rain covers, which are working quite well now, I think, other than the zips that are giving a bit of trouble. So it's not too bad. It's just a lot of up and down, backwards and forwards you tend to find. So I'm hoping they don't have to have the burden of the storm. And why don't you guys head up back to Taylor to get the latest update on the weather up in the Mara.
Windy. So windy, it's not even funny anymore. But our giraffe, these are not giraffe, these are zebra. I've just been looking at giraffe. They've all moved behind the car though. But there they are. grazing, munching up all the grass that they can munch, but you can see it's starting to turn brown now, and they've grazed a fair amount of it too. But there are a lot of animals that live up here, plenty of them moving around. Now, I don't know if these guys are part of the same herd. They all look like young stallions, so they could have maybe just following this big breeding herd around. I did see the stallion that was going through the herd just before the gremlins attacked us, and he was sort of greeting all the mares and, you know, I suppose checking up on everybody. But these guys would have to just keep their distance, otherwise they could find themselves in a little bit of trouble. He seemed to be quite feisty this afternoon. Like I said, a lot of the time the wind stirs the animals. We see wildebeest running around in circles often, or chasing one another on windy days. The best zebra sightings I've ever had have always been on the windiest days too, where the whole herd is just running around and males are fighting with one another. The youngsters are annoying the mares. It's always quite entertaining. But they are such stunning creatures. And again, it's a pity that we're missing golden hour now, but it's the cloud's fault. It's this big storm that has just moved over the top of us. Paula, you're wondering if there are any albino zebra in Kenya? I saw a post, but now I can't remember where it was. It wasn't an albino zebra, it was a leucistic zebra. So it wasn't completely white. You could still see its stripes. It was just very, very faded, and the black stripes were a very, very light brown. But I've never seen one, an albino one before. I've never even seen a leucistic zebra before either. So it's a bit hard to say. What I do want to show you very quickly though, oh no, I'm not going to be able to. There's too many cars. I really want... Money, can we see the storm from here? Or are we still parked at a really weird angle? Check out this cloud. Look how it's forming. Well, I suppose it's probably around the eye now. It's amazing. Lots of rain. It's starting to swirl. It's swirling slowly, yeah. That's crazy. Right above the zebra, right above the giraffe. Yo, it's it really is building up to be a big storm. I'm hoping that we don't get stuck in it, because we don't, you know, we want the rain down here in the Maro. We want the rain where the bulk of the animals are. It would be nice, of course, to have a bit of rain up on the escarpment, because that means I can go swimming in the rock pools again, because we haven't had much rain. Giraffe, you're just taking the scenic route round, but I think also heading towards the tree line, or at least up against the escarpment where they might find a bit of wind. Shame you've got very skew ossicones now, haven't you? They're growing in opposite directions. They didn't get the message, or they each got a different message apparently on which way to grow. What a beautiful girl, young girl. Very nice. Just taking a little stroll along past that same mound that the zebras walk past. Right, I did see the bright white light in Ralph's car down below, wandering towards us. Let's go across to him. Apparently he has got one last view of the sun.
Yes, thanks Taylor. And have a look at this, folks. It's an absolutely beautiful setting here, with the sun sort of just showing itself a little bit behind the clouds as we go past a vehicle there. Sorry about that. But look at that. And the clouds are making absolutely beautiful formations. It is stunning. There's a couple of elephants here next to us. So I'm just going to stop over here next to the road and we can have a look at this. What an amazing setting that is. Hey Archie, that's beautiful, man. But it's beautiful, but at the same time quite scary, because the storm is closing in on us at an alarming rate of knots. And as I said, the elephants still continue normally with their daily cycle, and there's lovely colors coming through the clouds as they're just a few rays shining through. It always makes for brilliant video and photography when you've got just the odd rays of light. Now, Dyed Monkey, you're wondering if lightning is a real danger here. Yes, it can be, because it can start fires. It can also obviously kill animals around where it strikes. So it can be a bit of a problem. But generally, with the amount of large trees that there are here, it would normally hit one of those first. And there are some conductors around, it's the lodges, especially if they have thatched roofs. So it's not really a problem with them. But no, it's not really a major problem. Not many people are struck by lightning. There's not many animals found dead from that kind of problem. So we're not too worried about it. So from this beautiful scenery with these elephants and the lovely clouds and the light shining through, we are going to be sending you on back down to South Africa. A little bit of a different environment, but Scott's ready to show you something very interesting.
Wow. I'm quite envious of the beautiful stormy scenes you are enjoying up there, and let's hope the team manages to stay dry and still manage to show you the storm unfolding around them. Now, we've decided to spend a little bit more time with this plated lizard, and it's interestingly one of the largest species of lizards that we find in South Africa, second to the monitor lizards. And I've been doing a little bit of research. I'm told that they can grow up to 70 centimeters in length. Now that is ginormous. I've never seen one that big. That'll probably be 3 times the size of this one. But obviously, like a lot of animals, their size and kind of behavior and habits will depend on the area that they live in. Up in Kenya, at the lodge where Nikki and I were working before coming back to Safari Live, we had quite a few of these plated lizards that would hang around the rocky outcrops around the camp, and that's ordinarily the kind of homestead that they prefer. But these guys are on the rocky outcrops, really, on the Djuma property. And insects and kind of small prey, kestrel frogs, you're wondering what exactly do they feed on. A host of small animals, anything they can kind of overpower, from small insects, amphibians, rodents, I'm told even small tortoises from time to time. But they are also omnivorous, so it's not just little animals that they will eat, but also leaves, numbers down, but also in seed dispersal. So they have the best of both worlds when it comes to dining. Kestrel fox. Now what I'm interested to know is that I'm told that they live in families, but bedtime. Not quite. I'm watching you. You watching me. Who knows, maybe there's some more within this little cavity. I've only ever seen one here. It's not to say that there aren't some more lurking about. And they can live for quite long. There's records of them living for up to 15 years in captivity. Probably not that. This creature to live for 10 years, or at least I certainly wouldn't. Talking about survival and living, Mario, you wonder if all lizards have the ability to release their tail if and when attacked to create a decoy for the predators. Not all can, as far as I'm aware. Like the monitor lizard cannot, as far as I'm aware. Back to sleep. And the official terminology is an interesting one. It's called caudal autotomy, the ability to release one's tail when under attack. So I'm not convinced if these guys can. I'm guessing that they can, and with most of the animals that can release their tails, it's usually a once-off thing. The second tail that will grow back won't be as long, and once that's happened, that is that. They can't keep on doing it. Okay, well, we've got some exciting news from one sleepy lizard. You are heading across to Noel, who has found another leopard.
How How exciting is this, everybody? It's Tingana, and he's decided to we can see him at least for a little while. If he keeps heading east, we're going to stick with him as long as we possibly can, and as long as there's no one else that really wants to see him. But we can't go too much farther east from where we are. But it's a bit of a beautiful visual of him. You can see how much, oh, there's scent marks, spraying urine. It smells like buttered popcorn. You can see how much larger he is than Hosana. I know it's sometimes a little bit harder with the screen, but you can see sort of from the cut of his jib and the size of his body and the stockiness that he is quite a big boy. He's going to scent mark there again. And it's funny because he keeps zigzagging and moving in different directions. So it's myself and one other view goes out of the screen just now. I'm going to start up the vehicle again and follow him through, and then you guys can be on our exciting adventure with us. And then again, I just have to apologize for the back of my head as we're driving through. I don't want to pull a Tristan or hurt Wendy, as has happened before. Now, there's some really big, beautiful termite mounds that are around here. I also don't want to fall into a hole from these termite mounds, but there's also some large, beautiful termite mounds that are here that I'm actually hoping he will climb up, because that will give us a great view. So we're just going to come around the corner. Careful of your face there, Ferg, and try and get around these thickets. Jen, you want to know how close Tingana is to Hosana? They're about 1.5 kilometers apart from each other, so around about a mile and a bit apart from each other. But he's going in the opposite direction of Hosana. I can see him just up ahead. I'm just going to try and get in front so that we can get his beautiful face. But he seems to have caught a little bit of a lie-down area. I'm just going to get under these branches here. Just bear with me. So because he's going in the opposite direction for now, I don't think that they're going to interact. But Hosana likes to follow Tingana, and I think Tingana finds Hosana. Sorry, Tingana. I think Tingana finds Hosana intriguing for the fact that Hosana keeps doggedly trying to be in his presence, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that he finds this older male appealing, and also because I think Hosana wants to take over his territory at some point. There we go. That's a really lovely view. We're gonna go in here. How gorgeous is that? All right, so because he's sitting down for a little while, we can get a nice little view. Huge dewlap underneath. We're going to stick with him for now, but we're going to head back up to Ralph for...
Thanks, Noel, and I hope you do find your bits and your bobs. But these wildebeest are just feeding up a little bit alongside with the zebra, so it's like the usual suspects, and the two of them often found in conjunction, because the zebra are much less grazer, whereas the wildebeest are more selective. So the wildebeest like to move around where the zebra are feeding, because they very often do cut the grass down to a nice length and to what the wildebeest prefer feeding on. So it's a very good relationship they have, and a match made in heaven, because they do fall off each other. And so it also helps with eyes and ears. Once more, predator evasion is what zebra and wildebeest are constantly trying to do, especially that of lion. So folks, looking out over the Masai Mara, there we go. What a lovely view it is. However, the storm is closing in, and Archie and I are going to head up the hill now, and we're going to say goodbye to you, heading you back off to Noel. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Have a nice evening. Cheerio.
So Tingana has got up and he's starting to sniff around some of these aardvark burrows, which could also possibly have a warthog inside of them. So he's been walking and scent marking, and now he's interested. It's difficult from the angle we have for me to show you exactly where these burrows are, but it's just in front of him. And I've watched before. I know you had it with Scott the other day with Hosana when he was chasing those warthog in particular do this, where they find fresh scent of something like a warthog and they know where it is, and then they are busy in that little area. And I think if I remember correctly, Jamie had a sighting a couple weeks ago where lions were digging warthogs out of some burrows there. And they're very intelligent creatures, and they're very aware of what's going on. Now, he does not look thin by any stretch of the imagination. We know that he stole part of Kachava's kill several days ago and chomped on that. But, I mean, if something catches his scent, or if he catches something scent, then he's definitely going to go for it. We discuss often how opportunistic leopards can be, and now where he's smelling there, interestingly enough, is a spot where another leopard would have scent marked. So I also think that that's part of what he's doing. You see how he's looking there. So he was interested in Kachava the other day, and we talked about how him and Kachava mated sort of towards the mid to end. There's this Fleming grimace, mid to end of September, and she's now pregnant. And Hosana's been far south, as far as I know, with properties on the southern side of Chitwa, so there's possibly some other leopards that are around. So that little lick and smell he's doing there with the Fleming grimace has to do with the leopard. The other smells that he was smelling on the ground near the burrow could possibly be from another leopard, or it could be from those warthogs. But those would be my two educated guesses. We have another vehicle that's joining us, so just sorry for the sounds there. He's very intent on this urine spray that's been put onto this tree. And there's the Fleming grimace again. And of course, he turns his head so we can't really see him. Possibly those warthogs we were talking about. But I don't think that Tingana heard it. We will have to see if maybe he picks up on them, or if maybe this leopard scent is just a bit too intriguing for him, I should say, rather than too much. So this is absolutely fantastic. 2 of our resident male leopards in one game drive, and I have to say thank you to all the other guides that are out and about on property, because Chitwa is a bit of a drive for us, and we're lucky enough to be able to traverse. There, he's going to scent mark again. There, he scrapes with his feet. That sawing noise we like. I think we're going to need to move around shortly to get a better view. So I think let's head over to Scott, who's got a leopard of a different character that he wants to show you. So let's head on over to him while I move the vehicle.
Yes, we do indeed. We have a leopard tortoise, and it is at the local watering hole quenching its thirst. And who knows how long it's been since it last had a sip of water, and how long it took to get there. There's also a little wasp buzzing around there. Now I wonder if that wasp is having a drink or collecting some mud to build a nest. We've got quite a few clever moths out here that can, in fact, and do build very intricate nests using mud. So I'm guessing that's what it was. Can't be certain. It looked like a spider hunting wasp to me, but I wasn't entirely sure. Well, we were just in time to watch this tortoise do its thing. Oh, it's slipping and sliding, but they're so powerful, these little creatures, and they've got really good traction. They've got great 4x4, so it's going to have no trouble, well, not too much trouble. What's going on its back? Leg doesn't seem to be... Oh no, everything's fine. It was just slipping and sliding a little bit. So we're at the Buffels Hook waterhole here. We were hoping and finding a leopard like Noel has found here, but we are happy that we have at least found a leopard tortoise. Certainly better than nothing. Very good. Not too much else to see. We do have a hippopotamus. Oh, we did have a hippopotamus, a very shy one. That's clearly disappeared as soon as Senzo swung the camera towards it. Paula, you'd like to know how often does a tortoise lay eggs? And I would guess that unless the season is abnormally plentiful, it will only be once every summer. And we tend to find that you kind of only see the little hatchlings, the tiny cute little hatchlings, which I'm hoping we're going to be able to find you some of this summer. You know, at a kind of certain time of the year, towards kind of middle or late summer. But I'm happy for anyone to double check that. I could be wrong with regards to how often they lay eggs. I'm not also sure how many eggs they would lay. Interestingly, that plated lizard we were looking at earlier only lays 2 to 5 eggs on average. I would have thought they would have laid more. So who knows how many eggs a leopard tortoise would lay. I certainly don't. But what I can tell you is one of the cutest things you'll ever see is one of these tiny little hatchlings. I've only found a few in my career, but they are heart-meltingly cute. Okay, well, I think we're going to have to continue on our quest to see what else we can find. I really would like to try and at least find 3 reptiles for Clifford, and Noel has repositioned into a good spot, so it's best that we both head off on our own ways.
We've come over to a nice spot, but also one of the reasons why it is a nice spot is the fact that he has decided to lie down. He's picked a really thick area for us to be in, which makes it very difficult to maneuver the way that we need to. We're lucky we've got a little short body Land Rover, and also, as you guys know, the zoom on this camera is fantastic. So as long as Ferg has a little bit of an angle, he's good. Shem, we just had to rip him through a little bit of a num-num tree, but he seems to be okay. Don't want to upset the cameraman, because then, you know, maybe we don't see anything. Shame. Ferg's going, arr. Ferg, you're not very imposing with that arr, I'm sorry. Now, interestingly enough, this oak has a lot of ticks on him as well. You said a tick on his ear, just there at the back. So it means the tick season is in full swing, and unfortunately they're picking these up as they go along the way. I got a couple of messages from some of you yesterday evening saying that the tick on Hosana's nose yesterday was bothering you so much you wanted to like reach through and pick it off. I understand the thought process there. I don't think either Tingana or Hosana would be very pleased with any of us if we did that. Now, again, whatever he was smelling, whichever leopard he was smelling around there has definitely intrigued him, and then also those little bits of warthog that have been running around also intriguing him quite a bit. It's cooled down immensely. It's going to be dark in about an hour and a half, but with this cooling down, he is going to keep moving the way that he's doing. He is breathing because it was warm, but he's not breathing as heavily as our fat little Hosana that we had earlier with that leopard kill. There you can see that big dewlap. Hosana's just started getting his in. Tingana's is much larger. And again, the older they get, the bigger that gets. Another species that would have something like this dewlap would be an eland. Male eland in particular have very large dewlaps. Lions, you know, it would be interesting. Most male lions, every now and then you get a male lion without a mane, but male lions have manes, and I wonder if under that mane there is a little bit of a dewlap. Although that being said, I've seen older male lions that have lost their manes from stress and then haven't really noticed a large dewlap. And I've never noticed a large dewlap on a cheetah either, so possibly out of those 3 cats, it's really just a leopard thing. Gorgeous screenshots going on here. Absolutely fantastic. There's the termite mound I wanted him to climb up. He's decided to lie on the side of it. Sorry, we've got another vehicle that's with us in the sighting, and because they've got a longer body, they've managed to squeeze themselves into the space they could get, and we also have someone else that'll be joining us that will also squeeze in. So I think we'll be able to stay with this boy maybe for another 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll probably have to give space to someone else, but rather see him than not see him. And we've been doing so well. Scott and Tristan had such amazing leopard sightings while I was away on leave. And then Scott and I have done well, it seems well, this past sort of week or so over Christmas time, trying to get you guys as many leopards as we can. And one of the reasons why we're seeing so many leopards is our lions have really pushed off, which means that the leopards aren't hiding as much. Neil Smith, you have just tuned in and you're curious to know where is this live program happening from. So this is Safari Live with Wild Earth TV, and we are filming currently from South Africa in the Sabi Sands. The physical property I'm sitting on is Chitwa in the Sabi Sands, but we also traverse on Djuma. And we do this twice a day, and then we share our feeds. We have one site up in the Masai Mara in Kenya, and then our site down here. The Kenyan side of the production has already closed down for this afternoon, and Scott and I are just busy out in the Sabi Sands now for about another hour, just under an hour, giving you live game drive from the African bushveld. And as you know, you've just put in a comment or a question, but you can send through all those comments and questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on the YouTube chat. Trista, good question. Trista, you want to know what is the purpose of a dewlap? So, Trista, the dewlap on an eland carries a lot of fat inside of it and also helps slightly with thermoregulation. Both the males and females have it. Elands can be in areas like this, but they can also be in more arid areas, and it helps a bit. For the male leopards here for this, my personal opinion, and I'm sure that there's many other personal opinions and scientific opinions out there, my personal opinion is that the size of the dewlap and the growth of the dewlap has to do with the testosterone level that's inside the leopard. So male leopards having larger testosterone than a female leopard, and territorial male leopards that are in charge of their territory having the highest testosterone levels, that aids in that growth of the dewlap, which makes the head and the neck larger seeming and more imposing when coming across other younger males that might be trying to take over, or another large male that wants to expand into the territory. So for that aspect, and then also showing very good genes to the females, that thick neck with that large dewlap, so therefore happy to mate with them. Neil Smith, you're a local. Local is lekker. You're from Cape Town. Yeah, man, you must tune in. We start at 5 o'clock in the mornings and go till 8:30. And then, Nikki, just remind me, our time here, we start at 3:30, correct? Yeah. Yeah, so from the Mara we start at 3:30 our time, which is really 2:30 their time, and I always get it confused because they've got a difference in time. So Neil, yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning until 8:30 in the morning, and then 3:30 in the afternoon until 6:30 in the evening. You can catch us every day on the YouTube. And then we also do TV shows. We just had an amazing TV show that was broadcast live in the United States, and then we have TV shows that we'll be showing live on Nat Geo Wild again. I believe it's end of February for a bit of a binge series, so we've got those as well. I think Tingana is starting to cool down a little bit. Is he sticking his tongue out again? I've noticed with this male, over the past few times we've seen him when he's very hot, he does this. He sticks out part of his tongue, and then he stays that way. Maybe he's just getting old. Or maybe it's just a personal trait. Anupam, you're curious to know what Tingana means. I actually don't know what Tingana means. Nikki, do you know off the top of your head? Or Ferg? I don't actually know. I can double check for you and see what Tingana means. I've got a couple of trackers that are near me. Maybe when we go off air I can double check on what Tingana means. My favorite leopard in the whole world, who's actually the female leopard, who's not here. She's in a property farther north from here. Her name is Mbilo. Mbilo means heart. And then my favorite male leopard, who does occur in this area, his name is Mvula. And Mvula means rain. His eyes look like the cloudy skies, like the rain. But I don't know what Tingana means. I'm going to have to look it up for you. James Hendry would know, but James Hendry is on leave at the moment. He should be back in the new year. He's probably down by the ocean having a swim and laughing at all of us sweating up here. Shame. And also Tristan's back in a few days. Tristan might also know, in case I cannot find out appropriate for you. If I see Herbie tonight, I'll let him know. Ooh, we have an answer. Oh, interesting. So Teresa, one of our viewers, so Neil, we have a lot of viewers who've been watching us for years and years and years and years. Teresa, you're saying that Tingana means shy in Shangaan, and probably from the fact that he was very shy when we first started seeing him when he was around 2 years old. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. I love how much everybody, all of you viewers, listen and how much information you retain. I also really appreciate the fact that a lot of you keep records of all of these things. So myself, I'm new, and Ralph, who was with us earlier, is also new. So it's nice being able to get context to some of the characters that we see, and it's nice that the context comes from you, the viewers. It's excellent. I enjoy it very much. So thank you very much. Tingana apparently means shy. Oh, he's such a lazy flat cat. All right, everybody, our time with Tingana is up. We do have to allow another vehicle with some guests from another lodge to come in and view him. I think this has been an epic little while with this big, beautiful male. So we're going to be leaving him and saying goodbye. And while we do that, let's head on over to Scott and see what he has for us.
I don't got nothing, but that'll change at some point in time. And happy that you got to spend some quality time with a big old Tingana. We are kind of slowly perusing our way towards Treehouse Dam, where I'm hoping to find some sign of some more reptiles for Clifford. Clifford, let us know if you're still watching, otherwise I'm going to stop furiously searching for reptiles for you. Not that there's other people that won't enjoy them, but I am kind of going out my way for you specifically. Just saw a track crossing the road here. I just want to make sure I know what it is. Doesn't look very fresh, and it's tricky to see. It's this over here that's got my attention, but it's not very fresh, and I can't be certain what it is or which way it's going. So we'll leave that myth unbusted. Sometimes you just can't be certain, but always worth double checking. Oh well, Pisces, Bobby, I'm told you are enjoying the reptiles. There's been no word from Clifford for a while now, so we'll take it that he's abandoned ship. But we will continue on there anyway. We'll continue the quest for the monitor lizard, and who knows, we might get lucky and find Shadow in and around Treehouse Dam, a female leopard who likes to lurk around there. The cool relief of this stage of the evening. Very, very welcoming after a hot day. Tristan, you'd like to know if I've seen a chameleon since I've been back? Yes, only one. And it was crossing the road initially, but there was some problem, or I can't remember what the issue was, but it took a while for the link to come to what do you got there, Sense? It took a while to come, it took a while for you guys to get to us, so by the time you did, it was already in some quite thick vegetation. But yeah, only the one so far crossing a road, and Noel also found one a couple of days after me. It's kind of the only way you're really going to find them during the day. And because we're not spending time out after dark, at the moment, it decreases our chameleon sightings greatly. Having said that though, we have been on a few staff drives after dark and just haven't had much luck. So hopefully that will change. I remember finding a tiny little baby chameleon somewhere on these branches here a couple of years ago. It was absolutely minute. It was on a morning drive, just as it was still getting light. Some of you may remember that. It's the coolest thing to find the tiny little babies. They are very cute. Sometimes you just see them on a blade of grass. Ding, ding, ding. And sometimes you actually get like a nest of them, like 4 or 5 of these tiny little new hatchlings all together. Well, maybe if we have a good reason to stay out after dark, we'll do a bit of an extended drive before I go on leave. I'll be heading off on the 1st of January next year. So we've still got a few more days within which we can do a little bit of a night drive possibly, looking for any of the nocturnal critters. But it'll be nice to kind of couple it with some kind of predator or something exciting that's on the property. Trista, you are asking for us to look for Tundi and her cub. I've been searching tirelessly to try and find her, with no joy. So don't worry, we're doing everything in our power. I stayed out an extra 2.5 hours this morning and went out 2 hours earlier than drive started this afternoon, in the hope that we would have a better idea of where she is hiding that little cub, but it didn't really pay off. Now, what's happening here? Looks like it's dinner time. Now, I can't tell if that's the adult or the chick, but I can tell you that it is feeding on something. You can see it's putting its head down and using its talons to keep it down. Oh, we almost got a glimpse of something there. I would love to know what it is. What is going on? It's Mom. There's the little chick's head now. Cute. Oh. Mom's breaking little bite-sized pieces for this chick. How cool is this? Well, how cool is this? What I want to try and do is actually reposition. Hold on to your seatbelts, everyone. I know from another day we had quite a good visual from just over here. I'm just going to have to turn the vehicle around. Hold on everybody, handbrake turn. Ah, not quite a handbrake turn. Action broadcast next. Only kidding. No, I'm not convinced this is any better, but no, it should be. I think it is. Let's see what happens here. We've definitely got a better view of Mom, and now all we need is for the chick to poke its head up again, which I'm hoping it's going to do. What is it that you are snacking on? We so seldomly see birds of prey making any kills, so it's difficult to be certain. I'm guessing baby birds are high up on the Wahlberg's Eagles menu at the moment. Come on, show us what it is you're eating. Now the squawking you can hear are some buffalo weavers who are also nesting in the same tree as this Wahlberg's eagle. Oh, cute, that's better, you stay right there. Now, what's interesting is that this little baby, both of its parents are pale form Wahlberg's eagle. So it'll be very interesting to see if it too turns out to be a pale form, or if in fact it is a dark morph. It is looking quite dark now, but it is very young, so I think it's too soon to tell. And Joy, like I said, this is a Wahlberg's eagle. It's quite a common eagle in this area, not a very big one. And these birds have been nesting in the same tree, Joy, for a very long time, long enough for the road to be named after them. And Noelle tells me she had heard some records of Wahlberg's eagle nesting in the same place for 30 years in a row, and eagles are long-lived creatures. Long-lived, not long-livered. I said that the other day as well. They don't have long livers, they've just got regular livers. Show us what you're eating, please. Just pick it up for a second. I think it's definitely a bird. I thought I saw some feathers being plucked off at some point. Francis, you'd like to know why this chick can't eat on its own, and as you can see, even mom's having a tough time tearing the little bits of meat off this kill, and the chick's just too young, too weak, too uncoordinated to feed itself for the time being. So I guess that's all there really is to it. I love the way mom has a couple of mouthfuls, then she gives it a few mouthfuls to the baby. And Sean, thank you for sending through your question, because it's a good one and it's a good point you've raised. Could this not be the father? It certainly could. So this could be daddy on dinner duty, not necessarily mom. Oof. That's a big mouthful, mommy or daddy, whoever you are. It's very difficult to distinguish between male and female eagles a lot of the time. Oof. You must have some serious digestive juices to be able to deal with that. And I guess that's what happens if you don't have teeth and you're just swallowing large hunks of meat and bone. You rely on your stomach to do the majority of the digestion. Paula, you'd like to know how long will it take before this chick starts to fly, and I'm guessing around 6 months. But it is a complete thumbsuck of a guess. I need to do some research on that. So, let me see if I can find that out for you. Yeah, Laura Moore, I couldn't agree more. It is very sweet and cute how patient this adult is with the youngster. It's been incredibly patient and sharing, so that's good. Well, I'm very happy to hear that some of our good family friends are watching. And Annie, I know you watch a lot, but I think you're a bit of a silent ninja. But it's good to know you're watching. Send my love to Radar Ron and Rich and Dave. And we had a wonderful holiday in the Kruger National Park with Annie and her husband Radar Ron not so long ago. I think we need to plan another little road trip. And Annie suggested that possibly it was a guinea fowl that they're feeding on. It could be. Quite big for a Wahlberg's eagle. But if there are any young guinea fowl around, which there certainly could be, That would make the perfect prey for them. Hello to Benoli Meta. Please let me know if Adam Meta has any relation to you. It seems like quite a few of possible friends are tuned in this evening. You'd like to know if these Wahlberg's eagle are migrants, and no, they're not. They are here throughout the year. So, residents in this area. So now I've done some research and I was way off. Regarding the fledging period, it's usually about 2.5 months. So I was about twice as long. I said 6 months, so I was way off. So there we go. What else? Apparently it self-feeds at 4 to 5 weeks of age, which indicates that this one is younger than that. I would say only just, because it's looking quite big if you're asking me. And I guess like anything, like any of the kind of research and whatever the textbooks say, oh, that's a good mouthful, there's always exceptions to the rule. It's like saying, how old will a human baby stop nursing or start walking? We're all the same species, but you'll tend to find that there are huge discrepancies with us as individuals regarding everything, the way we develop, the way we behave. Magical. It really would be nice to get a camera up above this nest, because they are here every year, and it would help us to get to the bottom of what they are actually feeding on a lot of the time, and that for me is something very interesting. So I'll add that to my wish list, to the boss. Laura, you wondering if a pale form and a regular dark morph Wahlberg's eagle, if they mate, will there be like a kind of a mix match? No, it's usually, it's almost always one or the other. So it's either a pale form or a dark form. There's no kind of in between. And interestingly, both of these adults are pale form. There's another Wahlberg's eagle nest further down the road to the south of us, and that couple is a mix between a pale morph and a dark morph. And it'll be interesting to see how their youngster turns out. Marvelous. Sankachu would like to know, how do baby birds learn to fly? And I think it all depends on the species, but with eagles, what I've noticed, I watched the martial eagle kind of start learning how to fly, and they often just, you know, stand on the edge of the nest. Oh, drumstick. That looked like a drumstick to me. I don't know if you guys agree. Looks like there wasn't too much meat on it. But yeah, they usually kind of just stand on the edge of the nest and just kind of flap their wings and start exercising those muscles. So they do a lot of stationary flapping, and then you'll find them kind of hopping from branch to branch, doing 1 or 2 small flaps to help them get across, but it's also their legs that are kind of helping propel them forward. And slowly we'll be able to actually monitor this individual. It'll slowly increase its playground, and the branches that it jumps between and the distance between those branches will increase until it ends up kind of further afield. So yeah, it's just kind of trial and error, but a lot of it is done static, flapping their wings, building up those muscles, building up the coordination, getting used to flapping about. It must be hair-raising taking your first flight. I mean, I wonder what it's like for them. Hard to be certain. Did Mom just give it a feather to eat? I didn't get a good view, but it looked to me like it could have been a feather. Alrighty, well, I think feeding time's just about over. Well, it's hard to be certain actually, but I think we've got just enough time to make it to the treehouse waterhole to finish off our quest to try and find a monitor lizard in a cavity in the tree. So let's head on and see what else we can find. Now, Beard, you're wondering if a cuckoo will ever lay an egg in a large raptor's nest. Not that I know of. None of the cuckoos parasitize predatory birds. I guess it'd just be a bit too risky. So yeah, not that I know of. But if anybody knows anything about that, and if I'm wrong, please shout, because it would be very, very interesting to know if there is a cuckoo that is bold enough to parasitize any birds of prey. Alrighty. Well, it sounds like Noelle has been having some tech issues, but she's back up and running, so why don't you go and see what she's getting up to?
We did, in fact, have a few tech issues. Thank goodness they didn't happen when we were with Tingana, but Ferg, being the multitasker that he is, has sorted them all out, along with the help from Conrad and tech, so thank you both very, very much. So we've left Tingana. There was some other guests who needed to see him, and Hosana is all full up, so I think we did really well this afternoon with 2 of our male leopards. So Ferg and I are sort of on a bumble mission now. We're just going to very slowly drive around and see what else we can find. Maybe help out anyone that might be looking for Tingana. I think Scott's going to Treehouse Dam. Maybe those wild dogs, or not Tingana, sorry, Tundi. Sorry, I keep mixing up I've got too many leopard names in my head, and we are so lucky we see so many of them, and then, sorry about that. So for the Tundi thing, and then maybe the wild dogs pop up. We still really haven't seen any elephants today. Elephants would be absolutely fantastic. I think maybe let's check the Mulwati and see what's down inside of here. It's cooled down nicely, but the humidity's popped up a bit, so it should be cooler inside of the riverbed because there's water that runs underneath there. Sometimes what you'll find with the elephants is you'll find them around the corners of these dry riverbeds here, digging up the soil so that they can get into the water that will then well up. They can sort of smell that water about a meter down, so about 3 foot down. It's also a very good place for birding. So let's see what happens. Oh, and it's just a lovely evening. Ooh, Paula, you would like to know, do birds ever adopt abandoned eggs? Paula, I've never personally heard of that or seen that. I'm wondering if maybe Scott has, so whenever we go back to him, we can ask him as well. I know Scott was just talking to you about cuckoos who are brood parasites who don't make their own nest and they leave eggs inside, but they usually leave eggs either next to one that's already been laid by the host species, or sometimes they do it just after the host species laid the egg and they kick the other egg out so it confuses the host species. Most of the abandoned eggs I've seen, I know in early November we were seeing quite a few abandoned Egyptian goose eggs at Treehouse Dam as well as at the dam in front of Djuma Lodge. So, and those were just sort of left. But no, I haven't really heard of that. It would be interesting. It's a possibility. Maybe someone else has, but not in my experience, no. All right. I am also hoping that the signal will be good to us. We've done well with gremlins recently, but they do like to pop up at the most inopportune times, unfortunately. Again, we talk about it from time to time. I'm still so amazed at how technology has come along that allows us, like Scott and I and Ferg and Senzo, to do our jobs and broadcast the way that we do. And about 7 years ago, 7-8 years ago, I did an interview with Wild Earth with my partner at the time, and it was when the 3D cameras had come out, so we couldn't really do tracks or anything like that. And then now working with Wild Earth now, I'm just so enthralled with how the equipment has come along, because, you know, Graham and Emily have had this vision for so long, and it finally seems as if the technology is catching up with their vision, and it's spectacular. So you guys, I hope you feel like you're physically here with us, because with the questions that come through, I feel like you're physically here with us, and I watch the monitor, obviously, and yes, the quality of some of the shots are much better than my camera can even get. It's pretty exciting stuff, this Safari Live. I wonder if it will rain tonight. So it seems pretty quiet in the Mawati here. And sorry, Nix, I missed your last communication. Something about a kudu. Sorry, I heard Nikki say something about a kudu. Nikki's saying this is a beautiful riverbed cruise, and I'm agreeing, it is definitely a beautiful riverbed cruise. This is one of the things I love so much about working in the Lowveld in South Africa, is these beautiful riverbeds that we can traverse, and add such a dimension and level. And the birding that you get out of here, although sadly our birds seem to be hiding a little bit. It's interesting when you start to see things like this where the birds are starting to hide. It makes me think like it's going to rain, but the clouds that are coming through to me don't say rain, obviously, right this minute, maybe this evening. And I don't like to have rain on drive with all of you, but I actually think we desperately need a couple of days of some serious rain. So I will take getting wet over not having rain for... Oh, we've got the moons out nice. You can see the bunny in the almost full moon. Oh, sorry, pigeons. There we are, gorgeous. There's the bunny. So in the northern hemisphere, you get the man and the moon. In the the southern hemisphere, I ran out of water about 2 hours ago, so my mouth's a little bit dry. We have the little bunny ears and the little face, and then his body is to the right. So those are all the craters that are inside the moon there. And with that beautiful blue sky in the background, how stunning. Let's just take a moment. This can be our moment of silence for the afternoon. Oh, how gorgeous. Beautiful scene to look at. I hope you could pick up some of those bird calls as we sat here just for a moment enjoying and reflecting on the wonderful few days we've had. Scarlet Sky, you would like to know, what time does the crew go to bed and what time do we wake up in the morning? I have turned into an older person in the past year. I actually like to be asleep and in bed by about 8:30, but I know that some others like to stay up a little bit later. But usually camp is quiet from about 9:30, 10, and then normally I'm up either sort of 3:45 or 4, although this morning I had a knock on my door from either Ferg or Scott, I don't know who, saying, well, I think maybe your alarm didn't go off. We weren't late or anything, but it was definitely about 20 minutes later that I should have been up. And so, yeah, we're up sort of anywhere from 3:30 to 4-ish in the mornings just to get everything sorted and then get out. And then, you know, as long as the day is not too busy, we do have some time in the day to rest and relax. But in the summertime, we have shorter periods during the night to rest and longer periods during the day. And then in the summer, it's the opposite. Or, sorry, in the winter, it's the opposite. We have longer nights and shorter days. You're very welcome, everyone, for the peaceful moment. It's nice. We've had some good action today. It's also nice for Ferg and I when we just sit like this, because if we hear anything like lions calling or leopards sawing or a bird that we feel like seeing, it's good. It's good. It's a good moment. Okay, we're going to carry on our meander through the Milwaukee. And I'd be interested to know what all of you have been up to today. Or actually, many just be waking up. Well, maybe not just waking up, but it's morning for some of you and it's evening for some of you. Come on, Wendy. Be keen to know what everybody's up to. Does everyone still have time off from work, or have people already started going back to work? Ooh, sorry, I've got a bit of gremlins. Hold on. Let's head over to Scott, who seems to be having a really amazing reptile drive while I sort out these gremlins.
Well, we were kind of. The monitor lizard that's in the cavity in this tree slithered down into it as we arrived. All we saw was a little bit of its tail dangling out. Interestingly, usually they sit with just their heads poking out, but obviously this guy was getting ready to go to bed. So sadly no further view, but interesting that it is in the very same cavity where Senzo saw it, spotted it a few days ago. So we'll be able to keep monitoring this hole, but I think for now, I think we'll be wasting our time to spend any more time here. Oh, I got the hiccups. It's got chosen a very nice home in this marula tree. Okay. Now to plan our route from here. What should we do? Where should we go? Now I must apologize to everyone and thank James Richards for correcting me. I made a massive mistake in saying that Wahlberg's eagle were residents. They actually are migrants, and I don't know how I've managed to get that wrong. But just as well, James was keeping an eye on me, so thank you for clearing that up. And sorry to Mr. Mehta for providing you with the incorrect information. I hope you're still watching. And then we've got another request regarding vulture's nests, and you'd like some form of a follow-up on the vulture's nest, and that's from Deborah. I'm not too sure. Oh, is there one up the road here? Okay. Well, Senzo knows of one up ahead here, so we can head to it. I didn't know there was a active vulture's nest anywhere, so let's go and see. Do we need to go left here, Sens? Awesome. Well, thanks Deborah for helping us decide what to do for the last little bit of this sunset safari. Sadly, I don't think we are going to be able to show you much of a sunset this evening. The clouds have stolen the show, as you can see. Not too much of a golden glow this evening. Oh, this is exciting. I don't remember there being a vulture's nest here from in the past. I'm wondering if it's a new nest site, or if we just simply didn't know about it when I was still here up until the kind of March 2016, 2017, 2016, 2016. What are the visuals like of it? Sense decent, or?
Sometimes
Okay, so Senzo says sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. So we'll see. Hopefully we're going to have enough light to pull this off. We should do. If not though, Deborah, we'll be able to come back and have a look in the morning for you, or next time you're logged in, just send us a reminder and we'll get straight onto it. Rihanna, you're wondering if we ever go on holiday? Yes, we do. We get a lot more holiday than any kind of average job would provide you with. And in theory, the goal is for us to work 6 weeks on and then 2 weeks off. But it's tricky to work that out with TV shows that kind of throw everything off kilter. Now, Deborah, I've got a feeling that this vulture that used to be in this nest has fledged. The reason being is that, let's drive forward a bit, I've seen a vulture hanging around here for quite some time in the trees in and around this one, and that'll be the youngster who's still kind of chilling out, not traveling too far with its parents in search of food. No major, nothing at first glance, although what's in that tree? Have a look, Sens, in lower down, I think in another tree behind it. Somewhere, oh no, it's too far, but it's somewhere in that tree there. I think I can see something that could be the shape of a vulture. No, that funny branch got me confused. But yeah, nothing at first glance, Deborah. I think this vulture has already fledged. I'm quite interested where that nest is as well. Usually vultures' nests will be right on the top of trees. It's the first time that I've seen a nest kind of in the lower lying forks of a tree. Let's keep driving. If we take another road around to the right, we might also get some views into some big marula trees where we might see that youngster chilling out. Alrighty, well, we'll keep searching for this vulture and anything else really, and while we do that, we shall be sending you back to Noel.
Alright, so it seems as if we're doing a bit more birding now. I really want to see a bat hawk. That is top of my list. So bat hawks hunt bats, and they're a hawk, and they usually come out around this time in the evening, sometimes a little bit titch later. I've only seen 2 bat hawks ever in my career, so in just over 10 years I've only seen 2. I would really like to see another one. I'd be keen to know if Scott's ever seen a bat hawk and where he's seen them. I've seen one in Zambia, and I've seen one just north of here on another reserve in the Lowveld. And they're quite elusive. That would be incredible. Debbie, Nikki, me too. I'm also now hungry. Debbie in Vancouver, you just sent through I asked for updates. What's everybody doing? You said you're making pancake batter, and now both myself and Nikki are super hungry. Oh, what kind of pancakes are you gonna make? Are you gonna put blueberries in them? I like blueberry and chocolate chip. Oh, I'm just near there, Nikki. Apparently there's wild dogs on the dam cam, and I am not far from that dam at all. So hold on. Let's see what we can do. Nikki says she hopes it's the live dam cam that she's watching and not a replay. Nikki, I also hope so. I'm not far from Djuma Dam. I was actually going to go look for zebra up around quarantine because we haven't seen zebra. Well, I haven't seen zebra in a while, but I think the wild dogs will be a good one to have over the zebra. Hold on, everybody. I don't want to lose Ferg. I'm not a good one for the Ferrari Safari. It's not something that I do too often, but we will do our best. There's that herd of wildebeest again. So this morning when we came to look for these wild dogs, this herd of wildebeest was here, and the dogs did nothing. And so now I'm intrigued that these dogs are back, and they're not harassing this herd of wildebeest. All right, Nikki says they're lying in the dam, and for any of you that are watching the dam cam, Nikki's saying she really hopes that this is what's happening actually now. She doesn't want to be embarrassed. Nikki, you can never be embarrassed. You're a brilliant director. We love you, and I'm sure they're here. They are! Yay! Wild dogs, my absolute favorite. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, Nikki, you're not losing your mind. How fantastic. Thank you very much for the Dam Cam update. And thank goodness we were close by. This is absolutely fantastic. Although I'm having a little bit of a sad moment because Scott was here like 15 minutes ago. And I know he really wanted to see the dog. Scotty, I'm sorry. Maybe tomorrow morning, Scotty D. Beautiful. Oh, cracker. Now again, these wildebeest with tiny little wildebeest calves are maybe 150, 200 meters from these dogs, and they're doing nothing. So that's very interesting. What I would like to do, if everyone's okay with it, is I actually just want to go down to the other side of the dam and just turn our car around so that we're facing the dogs and where the wildebeest are. If everybody's okay with that, I'm just going to let Ferg pan here. And then if they do start moving towards those wildebeest, we'll have a better view and a better ability to move. So I think let's do that. It'll only take me 2 seconds. So African wild dog, African painted wolf. I love them. They are my absolute favorite predator. And they're incredible. I don't think this is the full pack. I only think this is part of the pack. I know that we see 2 packs in this area, and the pack that we were dealing with our sad wild dog death was the Investec and Bali breakaways, which has one male that amazingly has a collar. That male was not collared here. He was collared over near the Kruger National Park by Angama. He's from the Angama camp, and I know they do a lot of research over that area. And then, I've forgotten, but James Richard, if you're watching, you know the name of the other pack that we sometimes see, if you wouldn't mind sending that through. Sorry, Ferg? What? Sands. Is it just the Sands pack? Oh, Ferg is saying he thinks it's just the Sands pack. Ferg, are we happy with this? But I'm sure one of you guys would know. Alright, so now we have the dogs, and you can see the wildebeest in the background. They're not far. There they are, just up. Look at that. I mean, really? I've never seen wild dogs not want to go for baby wildebeest. So maybe it's just the Christmas bonus for the baby wildebeest. Who knows? Oh, this is great stuff. Okay, back to the dogs, of course, because we love them. So we have a few new viewers that have started watching us over the past couple of days, so let's do some information on the African painted wolf or the African wild dog. They're not related to domesticated dogs. They have a common ancestor with wolves from about 3 million years ago, and then domesticated dogs break off of wolves. They do look very similar, sort of like a German Shepherd or an Alsatian, as we were talking about earlier, with size of Hosana, but they're just slightly smaller. They're more the size of a Belgian Shepherd. As I was saying earlier as well, those Belgian Shepherds are used quite a lot for anti-poaching work. There's another dog species that's similar in size and shape, and I can't think of the name just now, but I'll come up with it hopefully in a little while. Now, this is a highly endangered species. There are less than 3,500 left on the entire continent of Africa. Africa is the only place where they occur. Now, as far as I know, historically, they have only been in sub-Saharan Africa. I believe that there are different species of canine that occur in north of the Sahara, but because we're talking millions of years, I would be interested if there's any research out there that thinks that possibly they could have occurred north of the Sahara. I was by the Sterkfontein Caves a few years ago, just on holiday with a friend and her son, and they had a skeleton there of an ancestor that came off of the wild dogs that didn't last for very long. So I wonder if maybe something like that occurred up there, just as a side thought, or a little side thought for today. So one of the main reasons why we don't see many of them has to do with human encroachment. Gina, you're asking why is the dam so dry? Yeah, Gina, we need rain. So before I went on leave the 18th of December, and I got back on the 24th of December. Just in that week, we went from having nice mud pools everywhere to having it be very dry because we didn't get a lot of rain. And we're at that time of year that when it's hot, and it sucks up a lot of the evaporation. And Scott and I have been talking about this, the fact that it's so low. So we need a downpouring. We need 2 days of just solid straight rain. And that's what I was saying earlier as well with, I'll take being wet and also possibly not being able to off-road and drive in certain places just to be able to get that level up. Now, just north of us where I used to work, they got 120 mils the other night. My friend that's just a little bit farther north from there got like 150 mils. I mean, there is good rain falling. It's just not falling on us. Oh, beautiful little three-banded plover there. Mario, very good question. You want to know if the wild dogs are waiting for the cover of darkness to hunt the baby wildebeest. Now, Mario, in a lot of the literature you'll read, you'll hear that wild dogs only hunt during the day and then during the night they rest. I've seen wild dogs hunting all throughout days and nights and temperatures, especially when there's a fuller moon. So, Mario, yes, it is entirely possible that they're waiting for it to be a little bit cooler before they start hunting. It's also possible that with the size of that wildebeest herd, with all those adults there, they might just be thinking it's not worth it, or they're just biding their time maybe until it's just dusk, and then it's easier for them to move where they can still see but the wildebeest are having trouble seeing. I can't honestly think what's in their mind, because this is the second time they've been near this herd of wildebeest today and they haven't tried anything, so they obviously have something on the brain. I have no idea what that could be. And now every coat pattern is unique. Look at the big ears. Coke cider, you're totally reading my mind. Yeah, their ears are gigantic. That's so they can pick up sounds very easily. Wild dogs, to me, are one of the large apex predators, are one of the best hunters. Something like a kudu that can very easily dissuade, say, a leopard or a lion using the disruptive coat markings, a dog will flush out so quickly. One of the lodges I used to work at, the pack of wild dogs used to kill full-grown male kudu up against the guest rooms. Jiro Kiko, you're one of the newer viewers with us. I'm so glad you enjoyed the recap. It's interesting, some of us were chatting about this the other day. We build up these relationships with everybody, and we get so used to the fact that most of the viewers have been with us for a long time, but we're growing so much and we're getting so much new viewers that are interested that it's good for the recap. Also, you must ask us from time to time for a little recap as well. We do love sharing all the stories we have with you. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful afternoon. From myself and Ralph and Taylor and Scott and Ferg and Senzo and Nikki and Faith and everyone in FC. I think we're going to spend our last few moments just watching our very lazy wild dogs here at the dam, but it's been an incredible live version with you out here in the bushveld of Africa. Hope you all enjoy your evening or your day, and we will see you early tomorrow morning.